I think as prison wives, we get so wrapped up in the crime that we loop the prison wife in with the crime. And we as prison wives can't do that.
We hugged at first. He called Joe over immediately. The CO told him that he saw our faces touch, like the sides of our faces when we hugged. And he said, I could terminate your visit right now, so you better be on your best behavior. And this was our first time seeing each other.
He was telling him we could make out at the end of the visit. And as we were making out, he's like, oh yeah, get it, Mike. Get it, Mike. Get it, Mike. He flipped out over his hand on my shoulder, but when Mike was tonguing me down, basically at the end of our visit, before I left, he was cheering Mike on. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Love Within Walls, a Prison Wife podcast. I'm your friendly host, Gigi, here, and I'm here with
your friendly host, Paige. Hi, friends. Happy Wednesday.
Hi, guys. Happy Hump Day. This is episode 15. I can't believe I was telling Paige. I cannot believe we are already at episode 15, almost to 20.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. And we just want to thank you guys. We got a lot of amazing support, feedback from our wallers, and I can't tell you how much it means. We had our little impromptu girls' night in on Friday, and just some of the comments that our wallers told us at the GNI. The growth we've had from episode 1 when we had nothing, we had no clue what we were doing, until now, having the little seggies and the speaky pipes and all the little things that people are saying. We just love you guys. And I can't thank you enough. I was almost in tears how sweet the feedback was, just in general for the pod. So I just wanted to say thank you guys.
I echo that statement, and I wasn't on the live, but I've been getting so many really nice messages on Instagram and Facebook from you guys, and there's literally not one time that I haven't gotten one of those, and they haven't made me want to cry, because it means so much. And I posted this thing on Instagram the other day that was whenever you admire someone, tell them life's too short. And I saw that and I was like, wow, that's so true. And I can't even tell you how many people replied to my story and were like, I admire you. And I was like, stop. I'm gonna cry. I love our little community, and everyone is it's so much more than what people build it out to be,
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys so much. We love all of y'all. And yeah, we're doing the dang thing for you guys. You guys are what make us show up every week. So thank you. Help us take over the world. Just saying.
We're ready.
I don't know if you can tell, but I've added a few things to my background, and I'm going to continuously add things to my little stand back here. That's part of my pod background. So I had my brother got me a washer for my birthday, a washing machine, and he had a huge pink bow on it. So I put that up there. My mom went to Texas and went to Buc-ee's, and this is to remind me during our what with that legislation segments when we get pissed off. Chillax, y'all. Need that. Or I'm gonna do this for the people that believe in not in prison being punitive and not rehabilitated. I can't even say the word for rehabilitation. You know what I mean. Chillax, y'all.
For our podcast listeners who are listening on Spotify and Apple, it's a wooden sign that says "Chillax, y'all," and Gigi's putting it over her eyes.
Yeah. and my mom of all people got this for me, and she said, you should put that on the little stand behind you when you do the pod. My mom listens and watches the pod.
That's gonna make me cry.
Yeah, shout out to moms here. Here's the thanks, mommy. Thanks, mi madre, for the chillax y'all sign.
Thank you. And I don't think my brother in a million years would ever buy me a washing machine for my birthday. So that's fucking awesome. That's a great gift.
It was really sweet. It was a surprise because I wasn't expecting it. But for those of y'all that don't know, my brother kind of lives with me, so he's helping me out, which is nice. And obviously it was a nice birthday gift and nice what was it? What's the word? Like I don't know, just to
Yeah.
help
Oh
out,
yeah.
something sweet. So, all right. So, let's go ahead and start. Well, we're going to get into starting our pod. Um Anything fun this weekend that you did,
No.
Paige?
Well, I guess not really prison reform related. My family and I went to our annual ALS walk. Um, that basically is just fundraising for the disease ALS. For those who don't know, I think I might have talked about this on the pod before. My father passed away from ALS when I was 14. So it's
Mhm.
definitely a cause that I hold very close and near and dear to my heart. So besides um, criminal justice reform and all of that fun stuff, that's also something that we like to support. So we actually got to go and do that yesterday, which is fun. We have our own little team called the Grateful Dudes, playing off the Grateful Dead because my dad created the
Mhm.
team forever ago. He was a huge Grateful Dead fan. He was a Deadhead. He followed them around to a bunch of shows back in the 80s and even sometimes in the 90s. So it's kind of like a fun thing that we still get to do. And like, it's a good way to raise money and be together and, celebrate his life. So that's what we did yesterday. That was fun.
Aw. And the pictures you showed me were really cute of everybody kind of dressed up to similar
Hmm.
and y'all's tie dye
Hmm.
and stuff. It
We
was
love
really
it.
cute. So, and I went to visit yesterday. Saw Michael. Spent the whole day up there. And this motherfucker, we're doing carnivore diet. So just an update on our carnivore diet. This motherfucker lost almost 12 pounds since we started, which was May
Men.
27th, the day after my birthday. We
Men.
started. And he's already lost 12 pounds, almost 12 pounds, like a little over 11 pounds. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
hate men. They can just stop doing one thing and lose 50
Yep.
pounds, right? So we're still continuing. We're still doing carnivore. We will be finishing carnivore. Our last day is today. Is today.
Mm,
So yeah. So
you did it.
yay. Hump day,
You did
last day.
it.
Yeah. I'm gonna continue on it, but I mean not hardcore like I am right now, but I might do like kind of like what they call like a keto
Hmm.
carnivore. But obviously, I'm gonna have cheat days. I'm gonna allow myself some cheat days in there, but it's really been great. So, if you're thinking about it, you have questions, hit me up. All right, it's time to give a shout out to our amazing sponsor, Beyond Bars Imaging. Paige is an amazing photo editor, and she can take any picture and make it off the fucking chain, y'all. When I'm saying off the fucking chain, I mean merging, editing backgrounds, editing clothing, editing styles, also stickies. We have stickies now. So please reach out to Paige at Beyond Bars Imaging on the Insta. Slide into her DMs. And she even put out this week on Beyond Bars Imaging the best photo poses to fix pictures to make it, the best, the highest quality possible. And let me tell you, I saw her do something so amazing for one of our friends in a black and white photo. And oh my God, it looks so real. I was like, looks like they're in a hotel, walk into the elevator, and there's a huge mirror, and he's taking a picture with a
Hmm.
iPhone, and it looks like a selfie. Like it looks like a real selfie. So, yeah, reach out to Paige because she's like number one in the game, y'all. Number one in the game, and I'm sure a lot of CDCR wives can attest to that for sure. So,
Oh,
Beyond Bars Imaging, hit her up, slide into those DMs. All right. Well, it's time to start episode
hell
15. Are we
yeah.
ready?
Let's go.
Ooh wee. What up with that? What up with that? Legislation. All right. I'll go ahead and get
Yes.
started today. I can I tell you how much I hate my
I
state right
hate your
now?
state too.
We are in, yeah, we are in the headlines for all of the wrong reasons. And guess what? Louisiana, and whether you agree with this or not, I mean, obviously this is taking the whole point of rehabilitation out of the prison sentence. So listen to this, y'all. Louisiana, and this is from the New York Times. So this is national news at this point. Louisiana passes surgical castration bill for child sex offenders. The bill, if signed, it will be signed by the governor. It says if signed, but it will be pretty much, would be the first state law to allow a judge to order surgical procedures for those who commit crimes against children, especially under the age of 13. So, all about rehabilitation, y'all,
I,
right?
you know what I mean? Like, no one is for sexual violence. At least anyone with a sound
No,
mind.
that's like one of the worst
Yes,
crimes
like
I can think of, to be
fully. And
honest.
no one, especially when it comes to kids, like this is, I'm a mother. Like, you know what I mean? Like thinking of that, that's like the worst thing I could ever think of happening, like ever to my child. Like, the answer is not giving the government more control. It never is. Everyone is so,
Hmm.
the government controls everything. So why are we moving in that direction again?
Yeah.
What happens when a mistake is made? It's the same thing as the death penalty. Like, what if, how are you going to prove that? Is it going to be proven beyond reasonable doubt? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I understand it's a controversial topic, but it's not the way that it should go, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And we see the government not only rolling back, we're going to obviously focus on the rolling back of prison reforms. But here in Louisiana and obviously also nationwide, we see also rights being taken away from
Mhm.
women. A lot of rights being taken away from women. And I wake up and I go, what right are we going to
Mhm.
lose today? So it's the government is trying to control our bodies. The government is trying to control every little aspect. And let me tell you this. This is something because you brought up the death penalty. If the government wants you dead, you're going to get the death penalty. That's how much
Mhm.
power they have. Yet we don't even trust them with our money. We don't trust them to fix our roads. We don't trust them for a lot of things. So just keep that in the back of your head. The more power you give the government, the less rights you have as
I
an
saw
individual.
an article on Twitter that said your governor elect was going to withhold money for your infrastructure, for your water, and all the issues that you guys have until women
Hmm.
who get abortions are prosecuted.
Yep. And they want to give
What
them the death penalty.
the fuck?
They want to give them the death penalty. Yep. Let me
Give
sip
me
my
that
coffee.
chillax y'all sign because
Mm.
I'm
Oh yeah, we're getting amped up already. Look, what up with that? Getting angry. What up with that? Chillax, y'all.
Ugh.
All right. So you wanted to talk about the obviously the rollbacks within my state and several other states as
Yeah,
well.
I came across an article written this week by AOL just about all of the red states that are seemingly rolling reform backwards. Kentucky had a new Safer Kentucky Act that was passed over the governor's veto, which increases the number of penalties and offenses, mandates life sentences for repeat violent offenders, and allows physical force against illegal campers. So
Oh
it's
my
just
God.
like, you know, nothing is the right way. Like Florida and Tennessee have weakened their civilian police oversight boards, limiting their power to investigate misconduct. There's multiple states in this article that are all going the wrong way. And then, then we'll have the articles about crime rates are up, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because you guys are changing. Like, it's so frustrating not being able to do anything and just reading these things. All we can do is, let make people aware and spread the news and,
And
yeah,
tell them to vote.
vote. True.
Guys, and at every
It
level, at
matters.
every level.
Hmm.
Yes. Because let me tell you, once Louisiana starts doing this stuff, other states are going to follow
Hmm.
Louisiana that are
I mean,
red
look at Florida.
states. So, yeah, we're trying to follow Texas right now. Like, our governor is loving the
Ugh.
governor of Texas and wants to do whatever he's doing. So, I'll just say this. Get young people out to vote, get them out to vote because we're going to keep it's going to it's almost like
I
Handmaid's
know.
Tale at this point. I'm big on women's
Oh,
rights.
yeah.
I'm even wearing my Magical Mujer shirt because I support women's rights. I don't think the government has any right to tell you what to do
Nope.
with your body. And same thing for prison reform. I think the government. We watched a video and we shared a video in our Facebook group. Sorry, I can't talk today. In our Facebook group, that I know he's controversial, but Bill Maher brings up a great point on in this 7 something minute YouTube video about why the United States has the highest incarceration rate in in the world, not the nation, the world, and the fact that the government gets roll kickbacks from these private enterprises, prison enterprises, and that they basically need repeat customers and
Yeah.
constant
They don't
customers. So, kind of
No, they don't
go ahead.
want
I'm sorry.
rehabilitation, they want returning customers. It's one of his quotes on that video I loved. It was like, calling a correctional facility is laughable. That's like calling, the NFL a brain development program. And it had 2 helmets
Yeah.
colliding, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Exactly, like, there's nothing correctional happening," and then he dropped the statistic at the end about how 95% of people incarcerated are going to return to society. And it's like, do we want these people that are having these small offenses going in and just becoming these horrible people? And then we look at them, we're like, well, that's what prison does to you. When you go to prison, like, that's what happens. Like, no, these are people that are going to return to society. And do you want them to be a active member of society, or do you want them to, create havoc from the PTSD and the struggles that they deal with while they're incarcerated? Hmm.
The trauma. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I this video is very eye opening. I think if you in our group, you could probably see it. Just look up Bill Maher prison
Capitalism
capitalism.
sells
I
with a
think it was
C. I
something
loved that.
capitalism sells
Yep.
like a prison cell. And you can find it, and it breaks down everything, like how the prison system sets
Yep.
people up to fail, to go back because they need the money, they need bodies. And if you think about it, I was telling Michael about it this morning on the phone, and I'm like, it's almost like allowed human
Hmm.
trafficking,
Well, that
because that's what it
all of
is.
it is so fucked up, and the way that everyone is it like accepts it. Like at the beginning, he was like, rape jokes are never funny, but why do we think rape jokes in prison are funny? Like, why is that?
Yeah.
Why is that what our society has adapted to? It's not right.
Yeah. So if you can check it out, please do. It's very educational. It's very eye-opening for people maybe that are interested in learning about, prison and prison reform and incarceration in our country. Very eye-opening, because it's told from a different perspective, because all we hear is lock them up, throw away the key, lock them up, throw away the key, and this is looking at it as there are better ways to do this, y'all. But the government doesn't want that because people have their hands, lobbyists have their hands on this. This is why he even talks about, this is why the three strike
Yeah.
rule is so popular, because this is how you get people come back in and stay for longer
I
sentences.
also love that he
So,
touched on Norway prisons. He was like, the recidivism rate in Norway is 20%. Do you know what they do in Norway prisons? He said they have yoga, they have playgrounds for when the kids come that the parents can play on the playgrounds. They make environments that are welcoming, and the guards aren't
mhm,
aren't dropouts from police academy that failed their mental exam. I think that's the quote that he said, and I was like, I love that.
yeah. and it's restorative, it's
Hmm.
not punitive. And people that may have come from a chaotic background and grew up with a lot of trauma, um you need, like, they need love, they need nurturing, that they've obviously missed part of
Yep.
that in their childhood or growing up. And so this is the way you fix the system, not create more of it. But we're a capitalist society. We
Capitalism sells.
want prison for profit, prison for profit, prison for profit. So obviously, people that really say, oh, we're going to try and make the streets safer, are really not. You're just
Mm-hmm.
enhancing the problem. And it's been proven. It's been proven. Does the death penalty really deter crime? No.
Mm-mm. Show me the statistics that
Do
prove
life sentences
otherwise.
really deter crime? Yeah. Does life sentences
Mm-mm.
really deter crime?
Does
No.
LWOP, because my husband has LWOP and
So,
he's still fighting and doing everything he can to reform himself and other people. So although, you try to deter it like that, there's still people that will defy the odds and
yeah.
keep pushing.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for Joe.
Good for Joe and good
Go,
for all
Joe,
those
go.
people that are doing that because there's a
Yeah.
lot.
For doing the
There's a lot.
damn thing. Yeah, there are. There's a lot. Whether you want to believe it or not, there are a lot. I'm just saying. All right. So we're going to go ahead and open it up. Episode 15. That was a
Yeah.
nice what up with that. We didn't get
Yeah.
as angry as last. We only had one moment anyway. But we wanted to kind of one of our wallers, I'm gonna say her name, but I'm not gonna say her last name because she brought this up at our GNI. We love her. I'm gonna give her a shout out, Michelle. She mentioned at our GNI, and part of our compliment that she gave us was that she went back and listened to episode 1 all the way through
I love
episode
that.
13, I think. Or 14, sorry. Can't count. And she said that it's so amazing. She told me it was so amazing to hear and see the growth from episode 1 to episode 14 for you and Paige. And I said, "Oh my God, you don't understand how
Such a
amazing that
compliment.
compliment is because literally episode 1, even though I think we did a fantastic job, no, because we had no
We were
fucking
going.
clue what we were
We were
doing.
just
So we were humble podcasters, beginning newbies at that point. So I just wanted to shout out her for that wonderful, beautiful compliment and talk about obviously maybe Paige brought up the fact that we should maybe go back since we didn't video this and put it on YouTube, kind of just do a quick what do you mean? Like a
how did
quick
our
little
yeah,
story
how did our
time.
husbands not how did we meet them kind of thing because we actually have some people who have only
Yeah,
followed us on YouTube and we don't have that part on YouTube.
correct.
So
Yeah, because that was before, that was like when we were in the ice age, just doing
mhm.
audio at that point. So, obviously we want to kind of give our viewers on YouTube a little quick gist of how we met our loved ones.
Hi YouTube friends. Paige and Gigi here. We kind of wanted to switch things up a little bit this week and come out with a specific YouTube branded video, not for our podcast, but just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background on, us and how we met our husbands. I think that's one of the questions that we get a lot from
Hmm.
people who specifically only are on YouTube or um, on that range, how did you meet your husbands? And, because that part we did not have recorded on video, you know?
Yeah, that was in our dinosaur days when we were first starting the pod. So now that we're in modern times, now that we have video, we want to kind of go over that with you guys. Oh, I can't hear you, Paige. I can't hear you. Did you mute the mic?
I did.
There you
All
go.
right.
She likes to tap, tap,
I
tap
do.
that
I
mic.
can't help it. It's my ADHD. If anyone who's watched me, I'm constantly touching my hair, I'm touching things, I'm moving around. I don't know how to sit still. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Hey, and we love you. We love you. It doesn't
It's
matter.
actually really funny when I look at the thumbnails of like our videos on YouTube. You're like sitting there still talking, and I'm like,
And you're like this.
yes, I'm like constantly touching my fucking hair. Like, chill out, bitch. I can't. I don't know how. Anyways, should I go first? You want to go first?
I'll go first. I'll go
Okay.
first if you want me to. It's up
No,
to
you go
you.
first.
Okay. So a little bit about me. I have lived in Louisiana all my life, except for a summer. I lived abroad. Other than that, I grew up here and I was married for 9 years with my ex-husband. I was with him for 17 years. So we kind of were high school sweethearts. We grew up together. And I, over a summer, watched some documentaries, docuseries about death row. I had previously in high school watched the movie Dead Man Walking. If you haven't watched it, very powerful movie, which kind of shaped my thoughts on the death penalty. I consider myself a very empathetic person, and I put myself in their shoes, and I was like, well, what, I can't imagine living life like this. Some of them don't get any contact, physical contact at all. And the idea of having that execution date looming over your head. So I decided to do something and say, well, if it were me, I would want somebody to reach out to me. I would want some support. So I started thinking about writing to an inmate in Texas on death row, because obviously we know Texas does follow through and execute the most people in the
Mhm.
nation. Um, but then I realized, these guys are on TV. They probably have thousands of people reaching out to them in pen pals. So I decided to look closer to home, and I was looking and looking and looking, and finally I found Michael. I found Michael's page. Just reading his page touched me. And I mean, and he was an attractive man. I found him very attractive. I will say that, but that's not the reason why I decided to write to him. It was more, um, his words on the screen on his ad. And I knew, I'm married. I was not looking for any type of relationship at all, just a friendship. And so it took me after like looking, it took me about 2 months before I actually put pen to paper. And I wrote to him. I found his ad on prisonpenpals.com, wrote to him, introduced myself, page and a half letter, nothing major. And this bitch comes back with 2 letters for me back to back. So clearly, I got him hooked on the first letter. He said I was very different from what he's seen. He mentioned that, a lot of women write him and ask how big his junk is. Basically, they want, they're into the death row moniker, like,
Ugh.
true crime junkies, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like they're into the hype of it, and people write him for the wrong reasons. And so he said that my letter was refreshing. We had a lot of the same interests. So I had him hooked day one. Granted, I told, my first letter, I explained I'm married. Like this is, I just believe in second chances, and I don't believe in the death penalty. And that's why I'm reaching out to you. And yeah, ever since that point, we were friends for a few months. And then, at the end of that same month that I wrote Michael, my ex-husband said, I don't want to be married anymore. And yeah, he left. So we ended up getting divorced, and that created a space for me and Michael to move into obviously something more. And here we are. We're almost to 8 years, y'all. Our anniversary is August 6th. So we are almost to 8 years of here. And I wouldn't change anything. The only thing I would change is if I can go back in time and help him not do the crime that he did when he
Heard that.
was, a young
Mhm.
adult. So when he just turned 20. So, but I wouldn't change him as a person. I wouldn't change him coming into my life. And it's been an incredible ride. And obviously, this relationship has brought me to meet a lot of amazing people like Paige. And, and I it's made me a better
Mhm.
person. So,
I
yeah.
love that.
That's my little quickie story.
I don't have notes or an outline, so I'm gonna just shoot this off the belt and hope that I don't skip around. I wrote to Joseph because it was COVID, and at this time, I had my house, but I was living with my mom because my son at the time was like a year and a half. I was a first time mom, so I really needed the help, and also, it was COVID, so I was working from home and trying to raise my child, and no daycares were open. It was a good time. Sarcastic. I had been single. I was not really looking for anyone just because I was more so focused on being a mom and, being present in the moment. But I have always had a fascination with criminal justice reform. And mainly that stems from I have my associate's degree in criminal justice. I went into that field kind of wanting to be a probation officer with the thoughts that, I'd be one of like the good ones. And I just very quickly learned that I don't think I would be able to have the stamina to be hard on people like that. And like, I'm definitely, with my empathy, I am more of a like, I want to help you. And I know that, probation officers and stuff, they can be helpful, but they also have to have like the lead foot. And I don't really have that.
Yeah.
So I've always had an interest in criminal justice reform, but during COVID, I was browsing on the pen pal web pages. I had never written to anyone before. I always was fascinated with it, but I just, never wanted to put myself out there even to like possibly like get feelings or anything like that. But one day I saw Joe's profile and I was like, not only did I of course think he was adorable and cute, but I really loved like what you said, what he wrote. It wasn't just like, I want to meet someone and like build a relationship. It was like, I want to meet friends and I want to, learn about different things. It was just very well written, and you could tell that he had a really good head on his shoulders. And when
Yeah.
it comes to like me, like I love that. That's like what attracts me to someone. So I decided to write him a letter. They didn't have like the digital way of sending anything. I had to physically write it to him, and I sent it. And then it probably was like a week later, I got a reply, and it was just like, oh, nice to meet you, and all these things. And you know, I guess one thing I'm forgetting to mention is that when I got that letter, I did not open it for like 2 weeks. Um, Mainly,
Oh, wow. I didn't
yeah,
know that.
I got the letter and I didn't open it. And it's because I think, subconsciously I had an idea of what door I was opening because I know how I am. And just reading Joe's profile, I knew that he could possibly like get me to fall for him in ways, you know what I mean? Just because we click, when you
Mhm.
like see people or people and you're like, this person's going to be a part of my life. I always get that
Yeah.
vibe with people.
Can can I ask this while you're
Mhm.
telling your story? Sorry. I just was because this happened to me. When you got your letter from Joe and you
Mhm.
finally read it, did it feel like you had known
Oh,
this person?
hmm,
Okay. Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like
I knew it.
I know this
Yeah.
person. Yeah, like in a past
Hmm.
life or something, maybe. I don't know.
And
But yeah, it felt
yes, and
familiar.
I'm part of the reason that I wrote to Joe in the beginning was because he was in California, which for those of you who don't know, I'm in Pennsylvania, so that's across the country. So that was like my one deterrent. And then my other deterrent that I didn't
Mhm.
mention, he's serving an LWAP sentence. And that's life without parole. So I was like, there's no way my brain would let myself attach to someone romantically like that, but just kidding. um Basically, I eventually opened it and we wrote back and we had phone calls, and our relationship just budded from there. And fast forward now 3 years and 3.5 years almost, have we are so strong, and we have grown into such a great team. He has made me a better person. Even just all of his self development from when we first met to now is insane. Like, he is in the OMCP program, which is him. He's a substance abuse counselor, and he counsels men in prison that are going through, substance abuse problems, or just, want to talk about something. And he's fantastic at that. But like, to think of him doing that even when we first met would have never happened. And he's just grown a lot. And although he was sentenced to life without parole, like I said earlier in our podcast that we're recording, he doesn't let that deter him from making positive changes and strides while in prison. Like, even the guys that are getting out dates, he counsels them and helps them. And like, that's got to be a crazy feeling to like, help these people that are getting these second chances. And it doesn't bother him. He's like, that's awesome. Like, when he hears about guys going home, he's like, that's amazing. And I think that that attitude is a special part of why I love him and why he is such a great man. And I just, you know being that he is such a great man, I think that's why I have been so vocal about advocating for him. Because these
Yeah.
people that have the death penalty or LWAP attached to them just kind of get blanketed and looked at as if they're horrible people, because typically to have a charge like that, you have to take someone's life. And although that is the case, I feel like with both of our men, like they are so much more than this situation that happened when they were children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's just my biggest push with all of this. And I just want everyone to know that there are many men just like him that are also behind bars that, deserve these second chances and are good people.
Can I brag about my
Of
husband real
course.
quick? Okay, so we talked about this yesterday because obviously this came up in our Facebook group. Um, my husband is also, he doesn't have to take classes. In fact, they're supposed to, like, every class you take, they get months or time or days off
Hmm.
of their sentence. So he's taking these classes, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter for him, right? He doesn't have to take them because it's not going to impact his sentence, right? Unless he gets off of death row and gets something else. Um, but he is the first death row inmate in Louisiana to get his GED. Um, and
Amazing.
mama helped him. Mama helped him. I tutored his ass. We sat at visit, not for hours. He would bring his little book out and we would work on stuff because he wanted it. And I will say this, I helped him because he wanted it so
Hmm.
bad and he was working so hard. Like, he would spend nights doing homework on his, like, just free will doing it. He's also taken a mentor class and he's graduated from
Hmm.
that. He's taken a lot of classes. So he has all these certificates. So he said, I don't have to do this, but I want to do it for me. And I want to do it he said, I want to do it for you too. And I want to do it for us as a couple. So, you know, there are people back here trying to to better
Hmm.
themselves, even with sentences where you pretty much may not have a shot, where these classes really don't do anything other than better you as
Hmm.
a person. So just understand that they, like, I love what Paige said, like, there are people back here with supposed to be the worst of the worst, but they're doing all of these things of their own volition and trying to rehabilitate themselves the best way
I
they can.
I've met
So,
a lot of people who have been professors that now teach in like in prisons, and
mhm,
ironically, I've been told by I think two different professors that the lifers and the people that had those long term sentences were the best behaved and the most like
mhm,
intelligent and kindest in their group. So they just think that's interesting. I've had two people say that to me now, and I think that says a
yeah.
lot for their character.
I told Michael this too because he was a class clown in school, and he ended up getting kicked out of school when he was a sophomore in high school for doing stupid kid stuff, right? Pranks and stuff like that. Um, and I told him, I said, you were probably, he has ADHD. Obviously, back, in the 80s and 90s, it was not something like it is today. It wasn't
Mhm.
diagnosed like it is today. And he, not that he was a bad student. He made B's and C's, but I said, you were probably hell on wheels in school. Not the best student when you were in school, but dang, are you the best student ever as an
Mhm.
adult? Like, he is the best. Like, I would want 10 of him in my class, with his effort, his drive, his motivation, and willingness to learn and, try things that are maybe uncomfortable and push himself. So the student that was probably the jackass, the class clown, is now the best student ever as an adult. So just
I love
saying.
that. And oddly enough, Joseph in high school, he was very smart and he is very smart. Even his IQ test when he got arrested was rather high. And he was doing
Hmm.
well in school, but he also ironically had ADHD. And I don't know if that, ties into anything, but I think, getting people medicated and known about that, especially back when all of this crime was happening and these long-term sentences, it just makes you wonder what kind of difference it would make.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
that's how we met our husbands, our lovely husbands.
Yeah. Our
Yes, our
babies.
little babies.
S- So I wanted to bring up this topic of conversation.
Is
I
it for the
talked to
pod?
Paige about it. Oh, are we not doing this? Is this
Yes.
something separate? Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it okay?
Sorry. All right. So you want me to stop recording here? Wait, you're muted.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Stopping here. All right, guys. We are here to discuss some interesting topics for episode 15, answer your questions. And boy, did we get a lot of speaky pipes again this week. First of all, when we get to the speaky pipes, I'm going to give mad props because we got some awesome speaky
Yay.
pipes last week that were, I mean, I still watch the reels that we made and I'm dying laughing how, and my face is still going because of the stories y'all gave us about the craziest visit story. So thank you guys for that. So our open discussion today is all about um other men. I brought this topic up to Paige because I started thinking about it yesterday and I was like, I don't want to forget it. I don't want to forget it. Because I've been wanting to talk about this and I always forget. When we talk about other men, I'm not talking about side pieces or anything like that. I'm talking about you go out with your girls, you looking cute, you feeling cute, okay? And you go out with your girls, or you meet a guy at Home Depot or the hardware store, right? And you tell him, my man's in prison. I'm married. Where's your, oh, okay, but he's in prison. Or you, somehow that gets revealed in the conversation. And I thought it was just interesting that a lot of men get a light bulb that goes off in their brain when you say that because they automatically think you're now fair game. And if not, I notice that it turns them on in a sense and it makes them try even harder when you reveal that information.
They look at it as, oh, well, her emotional side is being taken care of, but I'm sure she is, you know, lacking in the sexual department, you know what I mean? And
Again, my middle school ass.
it's like, you know, not, you know, not quite, not always. And it's like not even just the people who get family visits, you know what I mean? Like there are like, no.
Yeah. And it's like you're emotionally not
Mm-mm.
available. Like you're the perfect catch
Mm-hmm.
for them. You need the D because your man ain't giving it to you, especially, you know, the other 46 states that don't have family visits, right? So you're not getting the D. You're emotionally unavailable. So they don't have to worry about coddling you and, being romantic with
Feelings,
you.
no.
Yeah. So it's almost like you're the perfect catch for them,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I just think it's funny because, like, if you ask any prison wife when you're talking to a guy and you reveal the fact that your loved one's incarcerated, how crazy the other guys react when you go out with your friends. I just thought it was, and it makes it even more of a attraction factor for them when you tell them about your husband or your boyfriend or something like that.
I don't think I've ever personally like told any guys like when I'm out because I like first off I'm such a fucking homebody. I don't go out. I don't go anywhere. But like when I went to visit Joe in California and I went to like specifically the car rental place and I was there because they ask all kinds of questions. I don't know why, but they're like, where are you going? What's your plans? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, honestly, I'm going to the prison. And they're like the prison. They're like, where?
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, this one. And they're like, oh, they're like, who you visiting? I'm like, all right, well, if you're gonna ask, I'll tell you. I'm like, my husband. I'm like, yeah, I'm staying for the weekend. They're like, oh, okay. Like, and it's funny because when I told Joe, Joe was like, did they hit on you? I'm like, what? They didn't.
Because
They
they
didn't.
already
I
know.
looked like I was homeless. I was fresh off the plane. I said I'd be worried if they were
Yeah.
hitting on me.
I've had it happen. And the funny part is these guys were formerly incarcerated themselves
I've
at
had that.
Angola.
I've had that
Um,
happen.
wanting to take, now that they're free, they wanted to take me out. They wanted to date me. They were like, I don't care if you're with Mike. I don't care. You know. And I'm like, no, boo. Sorry, not sorry. So, and also, I went to a family prisoner conference back in 2018 in Dallas. And I mean, the formerly incarcerated people there, the guys there were, all excited that prison wives were coming. to this conference because they were like, oh, this is our chance to hook up, like literally hook up, you know what I'm saying? And I've I told, somebody, well, my husband's been incarcerated for 19 years, and he's got a lifetime to go. And there were, and then that was like open door invitation to
Mhm.
schmooze big time. So it's a real thing, and I challenge our viewers and listeners to maybe even call us and share your stories about it, because I know it's happening, and it seems to be a pattern, with, especially with prison wives and girlfriends, when they reveal, that their loved one is incarcerated. It's like, oh, here we go. Let me tap that. Like let me get in that. You know, you need it. Let me take care of you, baby. Let me take
I've
care
been
of you,
I've been
baby.
hit on by men who were previously incarcerated that are out now that actively see
Hmm.
me advocating for Joe, and even some men that have cell phones obviously and follow me and will hit on me, and not all of them of course, but there are still some, and it's just like it kind of is mind-blowing because it's kind of like, I mean, you see my entire Instagram and everything I have social media wise is dedicated to Joseph. Like, why do you think that because you're here you are so much better than our relationship? It's almost like insulting, you know what I mean? I'm like, no.
Yeah, yeah, and I think also another thing that's so attractive to them is the loyalty
Definitely, I've
aspect.
been told that. Hmm.
Hmm. Like, oh, you're ride or die. Like that's, like you're a
Hmm.
good woman. Let me tap that. You riding for your man? Oh, good job, honey. You need some vitamin D.
Like, goodbye.
Let me be the man. Let me be the man to give it to you, honey.
I'll pass, thank you.
Anyway, but I just wanted to talk about that because I feel like that's something that never gets talked about. And if you have a story, hit us up, comment down below, hit us up on the speaky pipes, slide into our DMs, please, because it's definitely something that happens at least once to a majority of
Definitely.
prison wives at some point. Like I was thinking, even when we go out as a group later on, in the summer, I was thinking like this might actually be something that
Ugh.
happens, like, yeah.
I just wear my wedding ring
So,
and I don't talk to people, so I'm like,
but let me say this doesn't
oh, I
deter
know.
men. It actually makes it like, oh, you're a catch. Oh, okay, and your man's not here. Hey,
Ugh.
he didn't have to know. He doesn't
That
have to
to me
know.
is so just disgusting. Like,
Yeah,
ugh.
it's
Mhm.
sleazy, honey. It's
No, thank
sleazy.
you.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to cover, Paige?
I feel like no. I feel like I my
Okay.
brain is still a little bit all over the place right now.
Okay. Well, I am going to. Ooh, I wanted to give this to you guys. I was going to do it before we did our questions from the Insta and the Speaky Pipes, but I think I'm going to do it now. You may want to take a second to, get these down, or just jot some notes if you want. Um, and these are 4 questions that, obviously are from, like, we always get questions about, what are some things I can do with my man? What are some things I can do, to get to know him better? Well, here are 4 really great questions to ask, just random ass fucking questions. Part of, those little card series that we talked about in previous pods. So here we go with our 4 questions. 4 questions you may want to use to ask your guy. You don't have to use all 4. You can use a couple of them, whatever you want. Number 1, when was the most challenging time in our relationship? So if you've established relationship, this is a great question. I'm going to ask Mike these too. Number 2, tell me about a time in our relationship when you were disappointed in me and why. Number 3, would you trust me handling all of the finances? And number 4, I love ending with a great one. Here we go. When was the exact moment you fell in love with me? So some good intimate type questions to discuss open communication, work on communication, and get to know your partner a little better. And, those things all benefit you and your relationship. So, yeah, enjoy those, guys. We'll try to have those every week for you. A couple questions to ask your partner, to ask your partner
Joseph and I
here.
did some of
Okay.
those last night.
Yeah. I'm going to do these tonight with Mike too. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into you guys. Did you slide? Did you slide into our DMs? You most certainly did. And we love you for it. So we got a couple questions from our post on Instagram, our story post, and I'm pulling them up right now. All right, this is not the right one. Sorry. All right, here we go. So our DM questions start with 36 Delots. She wants to know, what are some ways that help you feel closer to your loved one? Oh,
Okay,
where'd Paige
sorry.
go? There
I
she
had to
is.
get medicine.
Okay. Oh, what are some ways to help you feel closer to your loved one? I'll go ahead and start since she's getting her
Right.
medicinas in. Um, so I really love reading to Michael. We do that if not every night, pretty much every night. And I'll read a chapter. We've read a whole entire series, the Throne of Glass series, which is kind of like a mix between Game of Thrones and Hunger Games. We've read novels. Like I said, I recommended Light Between Oceans. It's a great story of like a long distance type love story with a little bit of, the guy gets incarcerated. It's a good story. It's also a movie. And I recently I ordered Michael a book. He's going to read to me now. I've already read it. I am obsessed with the Hunger Games. It's one of my favorite book series and movie series. I will stop what I'm doing if it's on TV and watch it. And that's one of my movies that I can just watch anytime. And I ordered him. I've read it already myself, but he didn't read it, and he likes the Hunger Games too. So I ordered a book for him, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the prequel that just came out with the movie. And before I watched the movie, I wanted him to read it to me. So I ordered on Amazon, and he should be getting the book this week coming up. And hopefully we'll start reading. So that's one thing we do. We read together. Those questions I just provided, those date night question kind of things we do, and just doing things together. I think whether I think some of us like to watch shows together, watch movies together. We do that. There's a series that we watch all the time, and we sit after the show. We talk and we discuss it. So those are some things that help me feel closer to him. Just doing things with him, even though he can't be here. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think we read, we have our phone calls, we have messages, we have like different little traditions to just like make it feel more normal for us. We watch shows, we do those question cards. We literally just did that last night. Joe and I have tarot cards. And he used to like
okay.
laugh at me with my tarot cards, but now he has me pulling cards for him and reading them, and we go over like the answers together and like use like chat GBT to like tell us what they really like, the full context of what they could mean and stuff. And it's fun because like we literally did that the other night and asked it all these different questions, and he was like, this is freaky, like how on point it is. But we like to do that. I'm ordering him paint so he can paint, and then we'll be able
Okay.
to paint on the phone together, and I think that'll be fun. It's just like, little things like that that we like to do.
Yeah. I love that
Mhm.
painting idea. That's awesome. All right. So, another question, and Paige, you might be able to do a really good job answering this because I have literally no clue. This is from This Mom Life times 5. Advice for young toddlers. My 3-year-old is struggling since her dad was
Mm,
sentenced.
that's a gosh, that's hard because like of course like with our situation, Joseph was already incarcerated when Brody like, came about him.
Mhm.
Um I personally know that there are a few parents that have incarcerated children that have told their children different things. I think it kind of depends on how long your loved one's incarcerated for. I actually know one of Joe's really good friends told his son that he was in prison for stealing chocolate, and because don't steal chocolate. And eventually, he's in a halfway house now, and he'll be out, and eventually they'll probably tell him the full story. But for right now, it just that was what was easier. Um, Brody's starting to kind of grasp that Joe's not here because he is 5, and like before he was kind of just like yeah, he's somewhere else, he lives in a different state, and that's kind of where we're at. But as he gets older, it gets a little bit harder because they become more aware. So I think it kind of depends on a few different factors, and but you don't want to lie, and that's kind of one thing that I'm really big on as a mom. I don't like lying to Brody. Obviously, there are going to be situations where I have to skirt around the truth and not be fully honest with him, but I try to keep it at bay and go from there.
Yeah. I think it's important to kind of give them an understanding of what's happening, but not all the
Mhm.
full deets, obviously their little minds are trying to absorb all this information, and you don't want to make it to where it's scary or
Mhm.
too much for them. But I like that, the honest approach, but obviously, not, I hate saying doctoring it, but just not giving all the full
Kids ask
scope of
questions.
things,
Yeah.
just to
It's
protect.
just better to not
Yeah.
open that door
Yeah.
unless they're older.
Yeah.
Then I mean, but for toddlers, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. All right. Our next one comes from our girl
Mm.
Lulu. We love her. All right. Would you keep supporting a friend after knowing she's being scammed?
Ooh.
This person knows
Oh.
she's being scammed, but she forgives the
And is
guy,
still
I
being
guess.
scammed?
Yeah.
That's hard because I'm such like an advocate for, people I care about and love, and I feel like to have a friend that would be like openly being scammed, that would be really hard for me because I hate people taking advantage of
Yeah.
anyone.
Just to sit there. Yeah. Just to sit there and watch it.
I think, in my opinion, if this was me, I would probably be like, I wouldn't cut them off as a friend. I would still be there for them as a friend, but I would be like, I don't really want to talk or hear about this person because, you and I both know where their head is at, and it just there's going to be no constructive. I'll help you if you ever like are going through something, but like as it comes to like daily
Hmm.
conversation, it's like what's going on with that, so that would be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess my question is, what do you do? How do you support a friend if you know she's being scammed and she doesn't know?
That's hard because I've there's been so many people that I've met so far that you can kind of get a vibe if that's what's happening in this world. And um personally, I from experience, I feel like a lot of the time staying out of it is the best bet because these people have a relationship that how long they've known each other, and they're probably always going to be a lot closer than you are. And sometimes it doesn't even matter if you'll tell them because they are like, what do you know? You don't know us,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And they're obviously
Mhm.
being manipulated in such a fashion to where they're going to believe whatever the guy says. And I've been told in the past, oh, if it were me, I would want to know. If it were me, I would want to know. And then when you tell them, you're the
Mhm.
asshole. That happened to me. Um, so you get blamed for their relationship problems because what the guy says is, you shouldn't listen to her.
She
She's
wants to start
lying, da, 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 da,
problems, like,
and
"What?"
then, yeah, she's just jealous. She wants to start drama. She doesn't like us together, so you then become the resident asshole. Um, so unfortunately, y'all, I am out of your business. I do not care if you're getting scammed. Sorry, not sorry. I just tell people, I'll say kind of a red flag. And if you
Yeah.
don't want to see the red flag, hey, that's
Like,
your that's your
and
issue.
that's the best way to handle it because, people get very offensive over and defensive over these things. And it's just like, uh, if that's what your prerogative is, go for it. I,
Mm-hmm.
everyone has
Oh
different,
yeah.
everyone's okay with different things. So, maybe they're okay with that.
Yeah. I was, I mean, at visit yesterday, I was talking to Michael, and, obviously this topic came up with what happened. And the, the guy basically has a new girlfriend, right? Okay. And I don't even look at her. I don't even talk to her. Like, done. Like, I'm not even trying to get to know this woman, nor do I want to. I became the resident asshole of death row back there. And the people that truly know me know that's nothing that
Mhm.
I would ever do. But obviously other wives, other girlfriends back there now are like, oh, that's Gigi. Oh, she causes drama because of this one incident. And I was just basically doing like the whole, if it were
Mhm.
me, I would want to know. Um, and so yeah, I would just say, peace, boo, you on your own. I ain't telling you shit. No mo. I ain't gonna be there. Peace out. Like, I'm out of your relationship. I do not get involved anymore.
Yeah.
Because of that. So if someone's getting scammed, I'll just say, that's kind of a red flag, and then be done. And if you are not going to see it, I can't make you see it if you don't want
Mhm.
to see it yourself. So
Hope
yeah.
that helps.
Yeah, sorry. I would just, I mean, I'd still be a friend. I'm still civil. I'm still, cordial to people, but when it comes to back there, I'm no more. I don't have any relationships with anybody back there. Um, because of that. So, obviously the only person I'm friends with, one of my good friends, she's friends with a guy back there, just friends. They're not together or anything. They're just friends. So I'm okay with that because I've known her for years and we were friends before they met. So, um, and became friends. So, I'm okay with that. But for the most part, I do not hang out with death row wives anymore at all, at all. Um, I'll hang out with other people at Angola, other RHOA, but I don't get involved. And I just, I just say, okay, honey.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Our last one from the inbox. Well, not the last one from the inbox, because I did get some personal stuff in my inbox. But for the last one from the pod inbox, Jade and Isis asked, how do you support a prison wife when her loved one made a crime that doesn't respect your boundaries?
Um, yeah.
Can I say something here? I think as prison wives, we get so wrapped up in the crime that we loop the prison wife in with the
You
crime.
can't.
And we as prison wives
Mm-mm.
can't do that. We get enough of that out here from free people saying that we're horrible, we're almost criminals ourselves. Okay. Whether you agree with the person's crime or not, nobody
Yeah.
agrees with Michael's
Same with
crime. I don't
Joe's.
agree with Michael's crime. But, you know, I'm a person and I am not the person that did the crime. So I would say continue
Yeah.
supporting that prison wife. She probably needs it
Yeah.
more than anybody because clearly she's being ostracized within her own community.
And I think personally, if you're a person that has like boundaries or situations that you don't want to hear about, I think that when it comes to interacting with other prison wives, that you should probably like, when you become friends with them, be like, I don't really want to hear about your husband's story. You don't need to tell me those things. You know, specifically just to set that boundary so you don't even have to hear about it. You know what I mean? Like, because that way you
Yeah.
don't offend anyone. I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if it makes you listen, if it makes you that uncomfortable, I think establishing those boundaries up front and saying, look, I'm not comfortable with talking about this. I want to be there to support you, but I don't like you said, Paige, I
Mhm.
don't want to know about every little detail. I'd rather not hear about that, but I'm here for you if you need a shoulder to cry on. Like, I get the system. It's horrible system. I get it. Um, but I have a boundary line that impacts me as a person,
Yep,
and I need you to respect
I
that.
agree.
So, yeah. All right. I'm gonna get into a few um things that I saw either in our Facebook group or in the DMs. All right. All right. This is from Betsy. I sent her over to Taylor at Dedicated to the Incarcerated as well because she's a CDCR wife. She said hi, but I told her, I asked her if I could share this just to get her some information and help, or resources, or any advice, because she has a loved one at California Correctional
Yep.
Institution, CCI. She said, "Hi, my name is Betsy. I love your podcast, and what you guys are doing was showing a different perspective when it comes to dating or being married to someone who is incarcerated. Thank you, Betsy. I am hoping I can get some help in spreading the word. I currently have my loved one incarcerated at CCI, and we have been battling with medical staff for 2 months now. My loved one has been dealing with constant headaches and chest tightness. I don't know if it's an issue with being seen by the medical staff there, the amount of care he might be getting. It sounds to me like they're
They
not taking
don't.
him seriously.
Yeah,
Um,
they at
so
any it's true. Like literally, I mean, Joseph has a pacemaker and he has health issues and known health issues, and he's even said like when his heart has like felt weird, like he's been like, "Can I like go to the nurses?" And they're like, "You need to calm man down if you want any attention." And that's essentially saying that like you need help immediately. And it's just like, you know, you want to avoid that if you can at all costs. And it's just they don't do what they say that they want to do to help. Like with Joseph's pacemaker, he has to be at a specific prison or specific prisons in the state that are close to hospitals because of his pacemaker. And you would think that maybe being at these prisons that are supposed to be good for high risk medical, you'd get better attention, and it's laughable. So it's sad, but
yeah.
hopefully someone can help because we haven't had much much help on that front end either.
So it sounds like it's a state issue. It's not just this particular place either. Obviously, and I feel like it's like that in Louisiana too. I mean, you have to really almost
Yeah.
calm man down to get care, like
Hmm.
an emergency type care. So yeah. Um, if you have any insight for CCI, and their medical staff in particular, please, please, please drop a comment, send us a DM so we can help, Betsy. Or you can go to Dedicated to the Incarcerated, and see her post there. She tagged me in it, not tagged me, but she mentioned my name because I sent her over to Taylor, who's amazing in posting CDCR issues, from her inbox. So if you have any insight, hit us up, or comment below, please. All right. So, a couple of little things that I noticed. We asked the question last week: "What is your craziest interaction with a correctional officer?" And we had some of these in our own group, so I wanted to feature them. The first one's kind of short. It just says, um, "I blah, 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 sorry, a CO drove me to AutoZone, 20 miles away from the prison, and stayed with me during 2 hours under the snow after a 16-hour night shift." To help me fix my rental car. So adorable.
What state are
That was
you
really
in? Because I
awesome.
had no fucking way you're in California.
I don't
I
know.
mean, that's amazing.
It
That's
doesn't She
great.
didn't say.
That's, I mean, that's, I
That's
love that.
amazing.
I think that's
Yeah.
why like we tried to word it as strangest encounters because like I know there are good ones in there, hidden in there. That's great.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Um, and, I mean, for someone to do that, obviously, it shows that this is one
Hmm.
of the good eggs. You know, like, this is a good
They're
egg
there.
for a correctional officer. Not only do they care about
Hmm.
that shows they care about people, you know? Paige, do you have any crazy stories or strange
Um,
interactions that you wanna share?
I um I've been fortunate enough to not really have that many. I do everything I can whenever I interact or go over there to make their lives as easy as possible. So I thankfully
Mhm.
have encountered pretty good ones. Other than like a few circumstances, like when we went to high desert and COVID was still going on, like there was one that was like watching us during our visit because when we hugged at first, I guess he called Joe over immediately, and that was when we first got there. I hugged him, and The CO told him that he saw our faces touch. Keep in mind, like the sides of our faces when we hugged. And he said, I could terminate your visit right now. So you better like be on your best behavior. And this was our first time seeing each other. And he just like, and he like came up. I'm like, wow. I'm like, that was my first experience. I was like, okay, what the hell? Because like we weren't even trying to like touch faces. We were hugging because that's what they said we could do. Like it was, that was my craziest or strangest
That's crazy.
experience. Thankfully, everything else has been okay.
Yeah. I've had two. And the first one it's kind of short, so I'll start with that one. The first one I have was we were at Michael and I were at a contact visit. And I knew this CEO because I mean he used to be the bus driver. He used to drive us back there. We would talk on the bus rides. Like he would always tell me, like, I don't judge, I don't judge guys. Like, everybody's got a story and there's a reason why, they might have made a bad choice, but they're not bad people, and this is a guy that worked with them every fucking day. Okay. So I was like, okay, this guy's, he's kind of good. Like he's a kind of good dude. Well, he was one of the people that were babysitting us. So I call it babysitting us in our contact visit. And Michael put his hand, we were sitting side by side, and Michael put his hand on my shoulder, like,
Mm-hmm.
like you're in a movie theater, putting your hand, So he put his hand on my shoulder and he flipped out. He's like, I'm calling the captain. You put your hand on her shoulder. And Mike was like, went up to the captain, was like, I'm not touching her. I'm just putting my hand on her shoulder. And they told him to stop, basically, which is, listen, the amount of like
Mm-hmm.
we only get
Mm-hmm.
5 to 6 contact visits a year. Like, this makes us feel like a normal fucking couple for a minute, And what was crazy to me was he wouldn't let him put his arm around me and touch my shoulder. But at the end of the visit, he was like, because we can, we can make out. Like he was telling him we can make out at the end of the visit. And as we were making out, he's like, oh yeah, get it, Mike. Get it, Mike. Get it, Mike. He flipped out over his hand on my shoulder, but when Mike was tonguing me down, basically at the end of our visit, before I left,
And
he was
that's when I
cheering
would
Mike on.
turn and I would be like, this is really inappropriate. I love making people that are fucking weirdos like that feel weird.
Make it make sense. You're gonna cheer me on because my husband's tonguing me down, but you won't let him put his hand on my shoulder? Okay, dude.
Mm-mm.
Not only you're right, it is inappropriate, but
For
the
sure.
logic
For
behind it
sure.
is ridiculous. Yeah. And my second one is one that made me never want to visit again. I was determined to never go alone with this woman because she basically singled me out, yelled at me and Michael in front of everybody, um, basically made me leave early where everybody else got to stay. So it was like targeting, and just created a whole problem that so much of a problem that I had to write the head warden of Angola, and the situation was fixed. And our backstory, if that is, well, we've taken pictures where we've kissed in
We're not
pictures.
allowed to
I
do
mean,
that
keep in
at our
mind,
prison,
this
which is
was
funny.
well, now it's a rule, but not everybody follows it. The different camps
Yeah.
have different, like, the people don't care. Okay. Well, we had done this for years and we never thought it was against the rules. We were always allowed
Mm-hmm.
to just do like a little, a little peck, not tonguing, nothing. Okay. Um, and so we took a picture kissing, and this woman flipped
I
the
remember you telling me
fuck
this.
out, to the point she was screaming in the visiting room with me and Michael in front of all of the other guests, visitors. She was yelling at Michael down the hall, made him leave, made me leave early. And she's not even the captain. The captain brought me back and said, I'm not making you leave now. Like he called the shots here. Okay. And I was like, I don't ever want to visit alone with that
Mm-hmm.
woman.
Yeah.
Because I go by myself, right? At one point, I was like, I don't want to visit alone. All the trustees were coming up to me saying, "Don't let her ruin your visit. Don't ever let a CO
Mm-hmm.
ruin
That's what
you
they
from
want to
coming.
do.
Don't stop coming."
Most of them, some of them.
Correct. Correct. So the situation obviously was handled. The warden, I'm talking the head warden of Engel
Good.
came to talk to Mike one-on-one. And I'm going to say this, wardens don't get a lot of props. I'm going to give this man all the props. Warden Hooper, shout out to you because you are amazing. I respect the fuck out of you. And the way you handled the situation really, touched my heart and it made me respect you even more. So he had a one-on-one conversation with Mike and he's like, look, in the rule book, it says no kissing. I understand they didn't enforce it before, so you did it. No problem. Okay. But now you know from now on. So we don't kiss anymore in pictures. And that's okay. I respect that because he did it as a
Mm-hmm.
respectful man should have done it. He had a whole investigation of what happened that day. And his big thing is
Yeah.
you treat people like human beings. He cannot stand his staff treating inmates like they're not human. And so when I brought up the fact that she was yelling at me and Michael in the visitation room and down the hall, and we could hear her because she's loud as fuck. Um, he handled it, and um, big shout out to him. He talked to me, he talked to Michael, and he was open, and he handled it within like
Good.
24 to 48 hours. It was handled. Um, Now, I don't have any issues with her. I'm civil. I say good morning. How you doing? I don't, you know, I don't cause problems. But yeah. But at one point I was so petrified. This experience traumatized me to the point where I did not want to go to visit. And it was so funny because I was like, I asked Michael, I'm like, does she have a thing for you? Like, does she hate me? Does she have a thing for you or something? Like, and one of the other incarcerated individuals said, "Oh my God, this is like fatal attraction up in here." Like, he told the investigators that like it was like a fatal attraction moment. Like she was reeling on him, like hammering him in front of everybody. So it made it look like she had something for him, feelings for him, and she did not want me there. That's
Mm-hmm.
how insane it was. So yeah, because I was like, I even asked Michael, I'm like, do y'all have a thing or something? Because why is she targeting me? Why is she singling me out? Because
That's
nobody else had to
crazy.
leave, just me. Yeah. Anyway, sorry for the long story, y'all. But that was my two instances um with strange instances with COs for sure. All right, we got another one from our Facebook group from one of our members, one of our wallers. I love saying that. Okay, a CO who and isn't who I don't know what she says. A CO who is an IP. I don't know what an
Is
IP
this
is. Do you
someone in
know?
the UK? It might
I
be.
don't. I think so. Okay. Um, sh- she says a CO. I don't. This doesn't make sense to me. A CO who an IP, but almost same, right? I don't know what that means. I'd been talking to him every single day almost. He said to me, "Ma'am, this pissed me off over here. That's what you call old ladies, but I have since realized it's not a bad thing. It really great to see an inmate with such caring loved one that is dedicating so much time and energy to helping him. I really hope it works for both of you." That's what the CO said. I say that's crazy because he actually showed his soul after all week trying to get me off the phone and the other IPs being very rude and talking to me like I'm a child. I have a soft voice, but I'm grown.
It
Do
sounds
you get this?
like
Because I don't get it.
that one guard was kind and gave like nice words to her when other ones are like just how they all are. Go about how you, which, hey, that's
Okay.
good. I'll take a good experience.
Um, I
I
just don't
feel
know. I
like
want
I've
to know what
heard
an
that with the
IP is.
UK.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's what they call the
something that
UK
I could be
COs.
I
Okay.
could be completely fucking wrong. But let us know. Follow up.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we're gonna go over to my favorite part, the
Yay.
speaky pipes. You guys came through with the speaky pipes. So here we go. Our first And some of these might be CO speaky pipes, and some might just be random comments. So just so you have a heads up. All right, here's our first one by Anonymous.
Hi, Mrs. Cohen again, elaborating from last week. So it really started, they count our jewelry when we go in. I had a certain amount of chains on. All right. I didn't have them on when they came
Oh, I'm just going to pause it. She's talking from last week. Mrs. Cohen was talking about her family visits. So sorry. Just wanted to preface that.
collect the husbands. So at the gate, they said, where was my chains at? I'm like, in my bag. So I had to show proof, whatever. So my husband goes, gets them. They took that as I was leaving them for him. So they try to say I was smuggling contraband. What? Big old thing. That's how it started. So I shouldn't have said banned our visits. They just kind of terminated them. They said it was going to be 3 to 6 months, and they made it 6 months. Yeah, so that's what happened with that. And let me tell you, it is very traumatizing to see the goon squad come and grab your husband like that, the way they do that. I was glad I never had to see that before. And after seeing that, it's very traumatizing. It's like really watching the person you love get arrested all over again. It's weird. But yeah, hopefully that gave a little more insight.
That definitely does. And she actually connected with me in my messages and let me know what prison that was at. And it was that one that Joseph has been to, that he has actually told me is if he had to say his worst prison, it was that one. So that makes a lot of sense. And ironically, I actually know another prison wife who she's awesome. She listens to the pod. Her and her man got in trouble for family visits for a similar thing where they said it was contraband, but literally all that they did was they both were wearing necklaces and they traded the chain that their necklace was on because they wanted to have each other's chain. Like it wasn't anything, it was literally just they wanted to have those pieces of each other. And when they were leaving, one of the guards noticed it, and then they had got in trouble and they lost their visits for 6 months, as if like that was some other act other than them trying to find a new way to feel close to one another. It's sad. It's like I understand rules are in place for a reason, but it sucks that they can't like look at situations with a more of a human eye sometimes.
Yeah.
So sorry to go through that, Ms. Cohen, with watching. I can't imagine watching your husband go through that.
Ms. Cohen. I'm sorry, honeys. Gotta love the COs. All right, here we go.
Oh, and as well, we ended up getting our visit sooner than they wanted, I guess, because my husband is actually kind of known, and he had talks with a lot of the lieutenants, and basically there was no write-up in the system. They were just holding our visits hostage, basically. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. That's how we got him back. We basically, well, my husband did a lot with that. He's the reason.
That's crazy.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm glad she added that. Yeah. So they basically just held your visits from you with no documentation.
They'll do what
the
they
power
want.
that they have, huh? Yeah. I mean, you have no documentation to back up why you're holding visits if you're not going to write it up, because they couldn't write it up because it was they were making shit up, trying to make something out of nothing, basically. I'm sorry, Mrs. Cohen. I'm glad y'all got your visits back, though. Glad your husband fought for that. All right, our next speaky pipe by Anonymous.
So I don't really know if this qualifies as a crazy story so much as it was kind of a wake up to, oh, this is what we're doing now. But I do have a couple of situations with a couple of different female CEOs that I'm going to tell you about. Long story short, because this kind of feeds into it, my husband and I are MBI and we have 2 children together. And
just so y'all know, MBI means met before incarceration. Thank you. You'd be surprised how many questions. What is MBI? Okay. Sorry. Just want to say that.
Is currently doing time for a sex crime that did not happen. So early on when I was visiting, this CO is frisking me after I come out of the bathroom. And while she has her hands on me in places that my husband is not allowed to touch me, she proceeds to tell me that she knows why he's in there. And at the time, I did not know how to react. I just kind of froze. But later, when I was telling my husband about it, I was just like, bitch, you only know what is on paper. You have no idea what the real story is. And what the hell are you doing trying to talk to me about it while you have your hands on me? So that was the first one. This next one involves my daughter. And the kids were allowed to sit on their dad's laps. And my daughter had, in fact, sat on her dad's lap at visit before. And no one had ever said anything about it. But this one time, the CO comes up to her and tells her that she has to get off of her dad's lap. And she, of course, starts crying. And as I'm looking around the visiting room, there are other kids there, and they're sitting on their dad's laps. And my daughter was the only one she singled out.
Wow.
That is so terrible. And honestly, to piggyback off of the one point that she made, I think that bridges over with the one question about what about people that have wives who have husbands that have crimes that we don't respect. That just makes me think of, I know one woman who is amazing and I love her, and her husband was found guilty of a sex crime that he didn't do. And, it's something that they're still appealing and fighting. And, I've talked with her about it in length, and she, it's crazy because like that's the stamp that he has, and it doesn't matter like these backstories or like any information beyond that. That's what it is. And they think that that is a blanket that means that they can be treated however they want, and I'm so sorry that, your family would go through that. And I'd be interested to know if like you were able to follow up or, get any information on that. Cause I'd be like, why is my child the only one?
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, COs, I'm going to say this. We forget because we're so wrapped up in our loved ones. The COs have a job to do. Okay? We all know that, right? We have to kind of remind ourselves like they have a job to do. What I can't stand though is when they're unfair, when they start targeting, because it singles you out. It makes you look like an asshole, and it makes you feel like, well, how can you say that to me and not to everybody else? I understand there might be a rule. Well, if that's the rule, then enforce the rule for everyone. Okay? But don't let so-and-so kiss in a picture and then yell at me, or don't let so-and-so's kids sit on the lap and then yell at me and my kids. It's traumatizing. It's traumatizing, not for adults and for children. Like, COs, if you're listening, because I know they're listening, because I've been told they're listening. So if you're listening, hi. We understand that you have a job to do. And I know you probably feel like we're on the other side and we're against you. I'm not against you. I have nothing against you. You're a person. I'm a person. All we ask is that we get treated the same way, and that our loved ones are people too. And like I said, there are more good than bad at Angola. And I will say that all day, every day. There are so many wonderful people that work there. Okay. They're friendly. They're nice. I'm not going to say anything bad about them, but when you target one person and you don't enforce it for the rest, you are traumatizing that visitor and their loved one. More importantly, the visitor who has done no crime, who is a free person. So don't talk down to the visitors, because we know your goal. Your goal is to get us to not visit because it's less work for you to do. We get it. Okay. But we're not stopping. And we are there to support our loved ones. And if you really care about rehabilitating people, because that's your job, right? Right? I mean, let's get real. It's your job. You should want us there, because studies have shown that incarcerated individuals that have people supporting them do better on the inside and on the outside. So if you want a more peaceful community in there, you will love us and you will support us. Not love us. Let me say that. You will respect us because we're there for them. And targeting one person out of a whole room is traumatizing. And if you want to enforce the rules, enforce them. Enforce the fuck out of them. But do it fairly. And don't fuck with kids.
Seriously.
Don't fuck with children visiting their incarcerated parents.
Yep.
Ugh. I'm reminding myself. Because I know this person that called in. She's one of my friends. I've known her for years. And that pisses me the fuck off. Sorry. I'm reminding myself.
She did.
My mom knew. Anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. I got heated there. I'm sorry, Paige. I probably took
No,
way
you're
too
good.
much time and you didn't get a chance to talk. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say about that? I'll keep my mouth closed. Okay. But thank you for calling that in because that's perfect of what I was talking about earlier and obviously what, needs to be addressed here. All right. This person did leave their name. Jamie left us a speaky pipe. Here we go.
Hi, I want to leave this message for my fiance, Anthony Uttinger. I love you, baby. I can't wait to see you. I hope I get to see you soon.
That was cute.
Oh, that was sweet.
Hopefully
Thanks,
you can.
Jamie.
I was gonna say
I
you
wonder if he
should
listens.
crop
He
this
must
part
listen
of
to the pod.
and play it for him so he can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he listens. That would be great. All right. Our last one is from our girl, Taylor. All right. Here we go. I have a feeling this is going to be a sweet speaky pipe, especially for you, Paige.
Hello, gorgeous ladies. This is Taylor. I just wanted to hop on here, say that you two women are fucking incredible. I love everything you do. I love the podcast. I love you too. You guys are just, I can't say enough amazing things about everything you stand for, everything that you have strived to do for your husbands, for wives out here holding the damn thing down for their mans, and vice versa. But yeah, you women are just fucking incredible. Got to give a big extra props to my girl Paige. She's just been really looking out for me lately. She really does it, you guys. This woman is a prison wife through and through, and Gigi too. Gigi, much love, but y'all are just incredible women, and I fucking love you. Never stop, please. And yeah. Let's do this. Let's hold our men down the way we do best.
Thank you, Taylor.
Oh, I love you, Taylor. Thank you.
I
didn't get a chance to do my heart. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you, Taylor. That means so much.
You can see. Listen. Wait. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. With your little
Listen,
fingers.
though,
This shows how old I am.
So that's like the heart that
and
my
how-
generation did. I've just adapted to the Gen Z way of. I am a millennial.
Yeah.
I do both.
First of all, Paige does not talk like a millennial, and Paige does not act like a millennial. I'm a millennial. She acts like Gen Z over here, Gen Alpha over here.
I only
Skibbity
know about
toilet.
Skibbity
Toilet,
child,
Paige.
to be fair, but I'm in that thing called the Zillennials.
Oh my god!
It's that age group that we're right before Gen Z, and we're in the end of millennials. Yeah, we're like trying to be cool with the kids, but we don't fully know everything.
What's great about Paige is when she does do that Gen Z crap, when she talks to me in Gen Z crap, I say translate Paige, and she's able to translate for this millennial over here. So, and she told the other day, she told Michael, slay Mike, and Paige. And Mike was like, Paige wants to kill me.
That was the funniest shit. Iconic. You guys are, and honestly, that just Shows how perfect you guys are together.
And then what did you do? You said, oh, we were talking about something, and you said
You're
4
like,
plus
what?
4. And I'm like, Paige, translate 8. You ate that? I was like, oh. Okay.
So many people
8
are
left, no
listening and they're
crumbs.
like,
Got
what?
it.
And then there's some that are like, oh, I get it.
Like, Gigi, come on. Get with it, Gigi. Come on. Anyway, but
Thank you,
yeah.
Taylor.
So thank you,
Appreciate
Taylor,
you.
for that beautiful message. We love you. All right, that's all I have for Speaky Pipes. So, do you have, Paige, anything that you would like
I feel
people to
like
call in next week with?
you said something earlier in this episode that we were like, yeah, that would be good.
Oh,
Yeah.
if guys hit on you
Do you
even
have any
harder
stories
after
about
you tell
after
them that your
telling
loved one's
men
incarcerated.
or the opposite gender, if you're a male with you're a prison husband, stories you've dealt with after telling someone that your significant other is incarcerated?
Do you have a good pickup line that some guy would give you if you told them that Joe was incarcerated?
I don't.
I'll give you one. Oh man, I'm so sorry, baby. Sounds like you've been missing out on a lot that I can give you.
It's like, no, babes. I'm like, just had a family visit. I'm good, babes.
Back up, fuck boy. Back it up. All right. So do you have any shout outs, Paige? Give them shout. Give them shout. Give them clout.
I feel like I did have someone written down. Do you have anyone? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I want to shout out, believe it or not, I'm going to shout out CDCR wives. I'm not one, but I can recognize the shit y'all have to deal with them, y'all COs and y'all's prices, the price gouging, the corrupt COs that y'all have. I've never had to deal with anything like that. So I just want to give a shout out because y'all deal with a lot of shit in the CDCR system, and y'all keep fighting, y'all keep advocating, you keep going to visits, and you don't let them stop you. So big shout out to CDCR wives.
I'll do the opposite.
Paige
and
included.
I'll say for the especially the red states that I had mentioned, like Louisiana, Florida, Tennessee, shout out to those prison wives, because I feel like in the same breath, it's got to be fucking hard every day hearing about a new fucking piece of legislation that they're proposing that is even more disgusting than the last one. And that's got to be, I mean, when I see them, I look at them and I'm like my heart starts pounding. So I can't imagine having, my husband incarcerated in one of those states and knowing that, that is the reality of the walls that they're behind. And I feel like, you guys need a special shout out too.
And I'm gonna also, because I know I want to do this, because all prison wives and prison girlfriends deserve a shout out.
Yep.
No matter where you are,
international wives,
statewide,
y'all
feds.
are strong. I cry when I have to fly across the country. I can't imagine, doing this, holding it down out of the country, and the time zone differences. Like, you guys are the finances. Yeah, you guys are
the
warriors.
Finances. Yeah. So all prison wives, shout out, because we all need it. We all deserve it.
Despite
holding your mans
all
down.
The shit.
Yeah. All the bullshit. All that crazy bullshit. All right. Any final thoughts, Paige?
My thoughts. I don't have many, but that's what they are.
All right. Well. All right. Well, speaking of CDCR, since we did a shout out to CDCR wives, this meme is going to be coming from one of our friends,
Rebecca.
My Life as a Prison Wife. Shout out to My Life as a Prison Wife, Rebecca. Thank you. We're going to use your meme for the week, please. All right. So I'm trying to get it to where y'all can see it. All right. It says, your man, and looks like a standard. For those guys
Except for her.
on audio,
Yeah.
it looks like the guy on the men's sign on the bathroom, and then it says "my man," the little kissy lips, and the guy is like Arnold Schwarzenegger body, okay, like jacked, okay, and at the bottom it says all those CDCR workouts got my man like,
Facts.
damn.
That's all they do is work out. I remember when I first started talking to Joe, and he would literally would run and lift, and it's a little more constraint now because of his pacemaker and stuff, but like the amount of exercise and stuff, because like that's how they keep themselves like leveled and grounded, and I
Yeah.
hear that, and they all got muscles.
Yeah. Mike goes on the yard twice a day. He is my he's gonna kill me for saying this on the fucking pod. But he's
Joe
gotten into pickleball
started a little
recently.
pickleball.
And he's
Aw,
my pickleball
cute.
princess. That's what I
Hey.
call him. But playing pickleball for 2 hours in the Louisiana heat, because it's like heat index 105 here. That's helped him to lose the almost 12 pounds that he's lost in this week and a half that he's been doing, or the 2 weeks at this point. 2 weeks that he's been, no, less than 2 weeks, he's been doing carnivore with me. So go ahead, pickleball princess. You looking good. He was
Love
looking
that.
good yesterday. Damn. I know. I can understand that meme at all. I was like, damn, you look good.
Shout out.
So, yeah. Shout out. Thank you, Rebecca, for that wonderful meme, because I saw that and I was like, we have to use this one today. All right. Well, that's all I have. And can I say one more thing before we close? Y'all, if you've seen my Facebook lives on Love with the Malls Facebook, I'm super excited about our camp week this week coming up. We're in it to win it. And join us if you haven't. You're missing half the week, but hey, we still got more fun stuff. We're going to be making s'mores. We're going to be painting. We're going to be doing homemade face masks. We're going to be having a campfire, G and I.
I want to
am so
extend
excited.
the invite to
So come
anyone
join
who
us,
is already
please.
in the group or isn't in the group yet and is afraid of like or thinks of themselves as more like not outgoing. You know what I mean? You're more like to yourself. Come and chill and sit on mute. You know what I mean? You can do that, but that's fine. Like I know that a lot of people don't join because they don't want they're like, I don't want to be a weirdo and sit and do like, this is all about us just like being together, and you know what I mean? And that's fine. None of us care, like, you know what I mean? We're all just bonding over the fact that the people we love are incarcerated, and if you want to sit there on mute, no one's gonna judge you or say anything. So
No, we had someone sit on mute this past Friday, and she was like, it was so nice meeting y'all. I just wanted to sit and listen and whatever. Like, listen, I'm an ambivert. Yeah. I can be very introverted when I want to, especially when I'm in a new situation. And when I started doing Zoom calls with other prison wives, when I first started, I just sat with my camera on and just listened. I did not feel comfortable talking. And if I had something that I wanted to talk about or something that somebody was talking about, I wanted to chime in, of course I unmuted myself and said something, but I was very observant. I did not know what to say, all that stuff. So I was nervous when they used to do what we call round robins, where everybody would have to introduce themselves. Yeah. I hate it. I can't stand it. And I would start shaken when it was my turn to do the round robin and I had to introduce myself.
Because the whole time you're literally sitting there waiting for your turn and you're not listening to anything anyone's saying. Yes. Yeah.
No, you're anxious as fuck. Yeah. So even if you don't feel like super comfortable talking, just hang out. I mean, that's the whole point. And if you don't feel comfortable answering, you can always put it in a chat if you don't feel like talking. There's a lot of ways to get around it. So we encourage y'all to come out and listen. Even if you don't want to do the Zoom, there's other activities that don't include Zoom. We have Facebook Lives happening all week. We have activities happening all week. So come join. Come check it out, please. We want you guys there. Your camp counselor here. We want you at camp, honeys. So Camp Within Walls all this week, y'all. Come join us. If you missed half the weeks, you're still nothing. You haven't missed everything. So come join us. All right. That's all I have, boo. Okay. Hey, remember, guys, don't let people piss you off.
Chillax, y'all.
Just chillax, y'all.
Don't.
It's okay. Don't let them get the best of you, huh? Yeah. Be confident. You got this. And we love you guys. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Go ahead, Paige. Do your Gen Z
I did
crap.
look double.
I know you started the right way. Good job.
Oh,
hey,
I know.
Paige, how
Listen,
do you
I'm
answer a phone
a
call?
millennial when it comes to this. What they're like?
Okay, not
that's crazy to me. I'm like, no, this is a phone.
Yeah. Okay.
I passed.
I had to put you on the spot there, but you passed the test. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. All right, guys. Well, we love you. We'll see you back next week for episode 16. If you have any comments, questions, Paige.
Oh my God.
Emoji.
Period.
Pick an emoji. If you've
Thank
come
you
this
for
far
loving
on our journey.
And honestly, I
Thank you
just
for
love that
loving us,
someone
'cause
every
we love
time
you.
does it. Hey, I was in Hershey yesterday, and this is one of my top. It's a chocolate bar. Leave the chocolate bar if you're here.
Chocolate bar.
I could go for a chocolate bar right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That looks good, actually. I know my carnivore ass wants some sweets so bad right now, but I can't.
I never.
I'm gonna go eat some eggs or something. All right, you guys, we love you. Have a great week. Have a great hump day. Have a great weekend. Come join us in Love Within Walls Facebook, and
love you guys.
We'll see you on the flip side. All right, love you. Besitos. Be magical mujeres, please. Oh, get your call. Get your call, Paige.